Hello Marvel Legends and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to build X-Force. I love putting together teams and seeing all the different characters combine and just how cool they look in groups, so let's do X-Force. But before we do, if you want to support the channel, go to patreon.com/displaying model behavior, where you will get to see extended versions of all of my episodes, like director's cut kind of ones with some extra footage at the end. So yeah, if you want to throw a few shekels my way, please do. But that's enough about that, because we're here for X-Force and Marvel Legends, and my goodness, we've got a lot to go through. So I'm going to talk to you about my logic and who I put in here while I'm getting them out, because you don't want to see me just blithering on without actually bringing in some Marvel Legends. So, boom! There you go. Who else? Who else are you going to have to kickstart your X-Force collection besides Cable? Now, this is where things got so confusing, because, like, I'm not an X-Force expert. I love my mutants and my X-Men, at least from the 90s, but like I didn't read X-Force, you know, sort of in that time period, and trying to do some research, it got very confusing because X-Force spins out of the New Mutants. At first it was like New Mutants, then Cable comes in and it's like Cable and the New Mutants, and then finally we get into X-Force. But what it was essentially was the New Mutants were like the junior X-Men, and then Cable kind of comes into the stories and he's like, okay, Daddy's home, let's stop pussyfooting around, you guys are my strike team now. And they kind of beef up like what the New Mutants are. And I think this is sort of under Rob Liefeld's sort of tenure. And again, I'm not an expert with like who's writing what, where, but essentially I think, you know, Cable is Rob Liefeld's baby, and that's what Cable does. He takes X-Force and makes them this, you know, sort of strike team. So rather than being like kids and the junior X-Men, he takes them and turns them into this kind of like you know, proactive kind of badass mutant group who go after like the guys like the Friends of Humanity and like, you know, William Stryker, like the real bad apples. And that's kind of cool. So it completely changes the perception of what the New Mutants are. And in doing so, they then become X-Force. And what a badass character to, you know, make that change and then to lead the team. Cable, the badass son, have I said badass? Son of Scott Summers and Jean Grey from the future. That's all we ever heard from Cable in the X-Men TV show was, you know, the name's Cable, I'm from the future. And it's like, could you elaborate at all? No, I got stuff to do. So Cable, boom, centerpiece of X-Force. Now, this is where things get really confusing to me. Everything's confusing to me. You know, anyone else would be like, dude, that's really not hard. But you see, Hasbro, Domino, hello. Hasbro have a really bad habit of not releasing characters in any kind of specific chronology or order or any way of like helping. But the reason they do that is to kind of keep you invested and keep you buying things. If they just released every figure you wanted all in one go, you go, oh, thanks very much, and I'll be on my way now. So in order to keep us, you know, invested, they will release like one figure from this wave here or one figure from this group over here. That's why it's taking like 10 years to build the Thunderbolts. We're getting there, slowly but surely. So this Domino is not the 90s Cable and Domino. This is the more contemporary X-Force Domino, which I was just like informed. I didn't even put two and two together. Of course though she is, because the 90s Domino has like the head piece, like the head armor. So this is more the kind of grey costume, Wolverine, Wetworks kind of X-Force. But since she is the only available Domino that we currently have, she gets to go in the team. And also when you put her together with Cable like this, the two of them, because they're kind of a couple, aren't they? Like, I think Cable and Domino, they've been getting smoochy. Like, why am I struggling with this terminology? Yeah, they're banging at some point, I think, is what we're trying to say. So they actually look really cool. I'm going to lower the camera a little bit so you can get sort of less of me and more of the figures as we make this display, because that's what you guys are really here for. It's not, I tie this all together, but damn it, it's about the Marvel Legends. So there you go. That's actually a pretty good sort of angle. I'll stick with that, and I'll just hunch. So Cable and Domino, and also, mwah, chef's kiss to this Domino here. What a pretty figure this is. The expression on the face is, again, she looks kind of bored about, fighting. She's like, yeah, I'll point this gun at you, but, it is what it is. But it is actually a really pretty face. I think this is the Janet Van Dyne Wasp face, and beautifully repainted. I think it's cool. It's a really cool figure. So even though she might be in the wrong sort of era as far as the costumes are concerned, I will allow it, because she looks really cool. Now then, we're gonna go real up to date now. From the Strong Guy wave, we have Sunspot. And Sunspot, Roberto Costra? Someone help me out. But yeah, Roberto Sunspot. And again, this is where the sort of the chronology gets confusing. He was one of the New Mutants, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was one of the New Mutants. And I love this figure. He was very close to getting on my kind of honorable mentions of last year list, because I just love, we've had these effects a billion times, but just in black, they just look really cool. And then you got kind of like the detailing on the perfect jet black face, and I just think it works. It's a fun figure. And again, the chronology of the New Mutants, when it goes from New Mutants to X-Force, and I know that Rob Liefeld was writing it, and then Fabian Nicieza took over, and they kind of changed the dynamics of the team. And actually, what happened, quite a sort of a fun kind of angle, was Cable. They have the story, The Executioner's Song, and Cable gets killed off. And when he eventually comes back, because of course he does, X-Force are like, hey, welcome back, this is great, you can join us, but you're not our leader, okay? We are working together, you're not the boss of us anymore, all right? And that was kind of cool, it changed the power dynamic. So we got Sunspot here, but I'm not sure sort of where he factors in and out. But someone who is kind of a mainstay of Cable's X-Force, especially with like the Rob Liefeld run of the early 90s, is Meltdown, or Boomer, or Boom Boom, or whatever you want to call her. Call her what you will, but call her a really cool figure. I was, holding off on getting her for such a long time, because this is the very sort of standard early 90s Liefeld design, and I knew her more from her mid-90s purple costume sort of run, when she was trying to rehabilitate Sabretooth and all that kind of thing. But still, if we're going for, because ideally this is the look we're going for, the early 90s Rob Liefeld look, and then this is more mid-90s, I think, and then of course we have the more sort of 2010s with Domino, but sometimes you got to work with what you got, So this figure I love. I love the bubble gum in the mouth, and I love the really sort of unique flame effects, where it's almost, this is like a flame ball yo-yo, kind of like, I was trying to work out like how best to sort of angle her hand so that it makes sense, and the fire is rising up from the ball, so the ball has to kind of like be low with the fire coming up, and I love the way it melds and morphs into her hand. Such a gorgeous figure, and so colourful as well. So yeah, Boomer, Boom Boom, Meltdown, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember her civilian name. I'll have to wiki that one. And by wiki, I mean let you guys tell me, because like literally any question I ask, you guys are just the best. Like within 1 minute of the video being posted, someone's commenting like, boom, there's your answer right there. Boom, you're looking for this? All right, now, I could edit this while I'm trying to stand her, but I'm not. You're gonna get the creative process, and this isn't the like extra stuff that I talk about on Patreon. You don't just see me fiddling around with the figures and wasting time. I actually talk about stuff. But wow, ooh, there we go. She is tricky to stand sometimes, because she's a bit sort of spindly with her legs. She has that lighter, smaller female figure, so she hasn't got so much weight leaning down on her. Actually, you know what? I am going to pause this, because this is not good entertainment. Okay, we're standing now. That took some playing around, but we got there. So we got 4 central figures, and again, some different timelines, but we'll work with what we got, okay? So next, we have another recent figure. Side by side with Sunspot is the new Warpath, which was so close to being a great figure. Like, That's what kills me. He's on a big chunky buck. He's got a very sort of expressive, very different looking kind of face. You know, the Native Americans, you know, sort of trappings and the designs in the costume. So much cool stuff. And then they cheap out with you know, no other hands, no other accessories. Now, I've heard a bit of a debate, and again, I'm not an expert, so help me out. Should he have come with knives? Because some people say that it was Warpath who had knives, other people say it was Thunderbird, some people say one had them but the other didn't, or they both did. Should this guy have come with knives? Because everyone on the Facebook groups are always looking for knives for this guy, so I'm assuming he should have knives, and he doesn't. He doesn't even have gripping hands. I really hate characters that only have fists. I have a lot of characters displayed with like 2 fists, but I want to have that choice. I want to have that option, and I want, like, it's more dynamic and interesting to have a hand like that. Just 2 fists, he just looks like, I have 2 fists, and there we go. I'll bop you good. It's just not a very exciting kind of pose to have a character in, especially that he does have a very stoic look on his face as well. That kind of just makes him not as exciting a character as you would want. I think, you know, someone like this, if he had the knives, if he had more of a rah kind of look on his face, then you could have him, you know, charging into battle, a really dynamic sort of pose. And instead, I've just got him standing very stoically and just kind of like in the background being that kind of tall pillar of strength. I'm going to jack him up a little bit. You see what we're doing here? I actually put a little bit of thought into this. Not a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still a typically half-assed video. But now you see the team is building and we've got some layers and structure here. Now then, of course, he's not actually a member of X-Force, but you got to consider Deadpool. I should have probably saved him till last as like an honorable mention. But Deadpool is so intrinsically linked to Cable and X-Force, and of course, Rob Liefeld. So Cable was introduced as a villain and then quickly became a fan favorite. Because, I mean, who doesn't love like a badass, wise-talking merc with a mouth? So even though he's a villain, I kind of consider him part of an X-Force display. So he might not be like a intrinsic team member, but at the same time, if it's X-Force, you gotta have Deadpool there. Especially because, I mean, hey, we got X-Force on the big screen in Deadpool 2, kind of. But there you go, you gotta have the 80th anniversary Deadpool, which is like full-on first appearance Deadpool, and he's a gorgeous figure as well. I'm really happy I got this guy. So we're almost there, we're almost done. Next up we have one of the most controversial, I feel, figures that Hasbro have ever produced, and that is Cannonball. Judge for yourself what you make of this guy. I get it. Like, I get the unhappiness with this figure. It's like, I know that this is his power, but come on, son, at least give people a chance to, you know, pose him as he would normally look, as a normal sort of standing human being, not mid-flight. And like, if I had the option, I would display him like this because it's fun and more dynamic. But the thing is, as someone pointed out, oh, for goodness sakes, I'm gonna have to, can I grab this without having to pause and think? Oh, he's fallen just out of, oh, you little, come on, out of principle, I don't want to pause the video. Yeah, there we go. There's professionalism for you. Yeah, the blast effect is like a little bit too small, like his legs kind of disappear, and they shouldn't. So if they were going to do this effect, it should have been like bigger and more effective possibly. But still, I like it. It's silly. But more to the point though, I like the facial sculpting. I think it's really good. I love his goggles and the kind of, grrr. See, that's what I want. I want an expressive face, not just a board standing for a work ID. It looks like he's getting a security ID. It's like, can I smile? No. Okay then. But this is more, you know, springing into action. This is really cool. So I dig this. And also apparently we will get a Cannonball with legs. we're told at some point this year. So I'm going to pop him up on his on his tin there. So he's blasting off behind the rest of X-Force. I might just raise the camera a little bit so we can get his head in, because I want to have everyone kind of displayed together. And that looks kind of cool there. Okay, and oh, can I change this There we go. No more reflections. All right, this is working pretty well now. Okay, almost finished. 2 more to go. We have Shatterstar. And Shatterstar is a figure that a character that I know pretty much nothing about. He's from the Longshot is from the Mojoverse. Is Shatterstar more of a Shi'ar kind of guy, or is he a mutant? I have not. Oh boy, I should have done more research before making this video. Oh well, we're here now, so we have Shatterstar. I just remember him being drawn by Rob Liefeld, and like whenever I picture Shatterstar, I picture Rob Liefeld's Shatterstar artwork. But it's like he's a kind of a cool, fun design. He's got his two-bladed, double-bladed swords, which are odd, but you know, that's one of those kind of like design weapon type choices where it's like, does this have any practical application? No. But it looks kind of cool, so we'll go with that. And then finally, we have the Caliban Build-A-Figure. Now, this is the not Age of Apocalypse, this is the Horseman of Apocalypse design. Again, we're mixing up the different designs of the costumes because there's just no linear kind of uniform that Hasbro have produced. We've got some early X-Force, some late X-Force, some little bits in between type X-Force. So now we have Caliban in his non-X-Force costume. But come on, like, where else am I going to put him? Or if they're not going to give us an X-Force costume Caliban, then they need to do more Apocalypse Horsemen. So we have a badass Horseman display. That would be cool. But in the meantime, I will put Caliban at the back here, looking cool and savage and kind of bridging the gap between Deadpool and the rest of the team as well. And there we go! That is the X-Force team. The question now though, folks, is who am I missing? Who do I not have here that, first of all, who have Hasbro made? This is ridiculous. Who have Hasbro made that I don't yet have, that I'm missing? I know that Strife would be a great counterpoint to have just with an X-Force display, because Cable and Strife, it was a whole thing. Executioner's Song, you should read it, it's a good story. But Strife is silly money, and I don't really care that much about the character to pay what people were paying or asking to pay for Strife. But also, as far as characters that we need a Wolf's Bane. I just put my teeth in there. We need a Wolf's Bane, and I think we need a Siren as well. I'm pretty sure Siren was in X-Force at some point or another. But anyway, guys, that is it for today. That is the X-Force display. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, comment below and let me know what other teams you'd like me to do. I really should have positioned this. Can I move this to the... Hey, how about that? Okay. If you want to see other teams built or put together, let me know, because I'm going to do a West Coast Avengers coming up soon. And also, I would like to do the X Factor team, but I am just trying to get hold of a multiple man at the moment. So when I get multiple man, then I'll do a similar X Factor version of this. And guys, that's it for today. So I'm now going to move back here. So enjoy the Days of Blast coming up. Check out all of the creators and go give them a follow on, not YouTube, I'm on YouTube. Don't follow anyone else on YouTube. Cancel subscriptions to other people, all right? Just let me dominate everything. So yeah, follow the contributors on Instagram because they're doing amazing work. Go and subscribe to Patreon if you want to help me out financially, because we'll take everything we can get. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.